Welcome to our U.S. Briefing program. Today, we delve into the evolving relationship between the U.S. and its allies, particularly in light of President Trump's approach to Ukraine, which has raised eyebrows among European leaders. Despite the ongoing conflict, Trump seems more focused on personal diplomacy rather than traditional alliances, creating a rift that could have long-lasting implications. In our second segment, we explore the paradox of the American economy. While unemployment rates are low and inflation is declining, a significant portion of the population feels uneasy about their economic prospects. With only a quarter of Americans rating the economy positively, the need for a productivity renaissance becomes evident. Analysts highlight that without a revival in productivity, the U.S. risks losing its competitive edge globally. Lastly, we address the complex issue of Taiwan. As tensions with China escalate, American policymakers face a tough challenge in supporting Taiwan without provoking direct conflict. The need for a strategic approach that empowers Taiwan while managing the risks of military confrontation is critical to maintaining stability in the region. Please stay tuned for more detailed insights. CNN reports on the contrasting diplomatic landscape as President Donald Trump continues to reshape America's global role, particularly in relation to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. While Trump and French President Emmanuel Macron exchanged pleasantries in the Oval Office, the U.S. found itself aligning with adversaries like Russia and North Korea at the United Nations, highlighting a significant rift with traditional allies. As world leaders gathered in Kyiv to show solidarity with Ukraine, Trump's reluctance to condemn Russian aggression raised concerns about his intentions. His desire for a personal summit with Putin has sparked a flurry of diplomatic activity, yet many fear that his approach could lead to a peace deal that favors Russia, undermining Ukraine's sovereignty. Macron's charm offensive aimed to steer Trump towards a more supportive stance for Ukraine, emphasizing the need for security guarantees, but the U.S. president's ambiguous commitment left allies uncertain about America's future role in European security. Foreign Affairs discusses the pervasive sense of economic malaise in the United States, despite favorable indicators like low unemployment and declining inflation. Many Americans express dissatisfaction with their economic prospects, with a staggering 80% lacking confidence that their children will fare better. The article emphasizes the critical role of labor productivity in addressing the nation's economic challenges, as stagnating productivity growth has stifled wage increases and widened income inequality. Policymakers are urged to invest in research, education, and global engagement to spur productivity, which has historically been the engine of economic prosperity. The article warns that without a renewed focus on productivity, the U.S. risks losing its competitive edge, particularly to rapidly advancing economies like China, which has seen significant gains through strategic investments in innovation and education. Foreign Affairs further explores the implications of Trump's potential second term on the global economic order, particularly in light of rising economic nationalism. The article posits that Trump's protectionist policies may exacerbate existing economic inequalities and disrupt international trade relationships, potentially leading to inflation and reduced consumer welfare in the U.S. While some within Trump's camp advocate for a more investment-driven approach, the overall lack of a coherent economic strategy raises concerns about the future of U.S. leadership on the global stage. The article highlights the need for transformative change that prioritizes equitable economic growth and sustainability, as countries around the world seek to redefine their economic models in response to the failures of the past. It calls for bold leadership to reshape international finance and trade, ensuring that future policies benefit both people and the planet, rather than perpetuating the inequities of the current system. Foreign Affairs. The global energy transition has seen remarkable growth in renewable sources like wind and solar, which accounted for 15% of the world's electricity generation by 2024, a significant leap from virtually zero 15 years prior. However, this progress is overshadowed by the simultaneous rise in fossil fuel consumption, with oil and coal reaching record production levels. This phenomenon suggests that the world is not transitioning away from hydrocarbons, but rather adding renewables to the existing energy mix. The anticipated swift shift to a low-carbon economy faces stark realities, including a lack of clear investment plans and the persistent dominance of fossil fuels. The International Energy Agency's projections highlight the daunting challenge of reducing greenhouse gas emissions significantly by 2030, with current trends moving in the opposite direction. Furthermore, the complexities of financing the transition, coupled with geopolitical tensions and competing priorities, indicate that the path to a sustainable energy future will be neither straightforward nor quick. Foreign Affairs. The situation surrounding Taiwan has become a focal point for American policymakers, who recognize that a Chinese invasion would pose grave consequences for U.S. interests and credibility in Asia. While the desire to protect Taiwan is strong, the potential costs of direct military intervention raise concerns about the wisdom of such a commitment. The U.S. must consider a third option that allows Taiwan to bolster its self-defense capabilities while enabling Washington to assist without direct military involvement. This strategy would necessitate a shift in Taiwan's defense posture, requiring increased military spending and a focus on asymmetric capabilities that could deter a Chinese invasion. By fostering a more self-reliant Taiwan and maintaining strategic ambiguity about U.S. military intervention, the United States can protect its interests without escalating tensions to the brink of war. Ultimately, the U.S. must prioritize regional alliances and security arrangements that can withstand the challenges posed by a rising China while ensuring that Taiwan remains a stable and democratic entity. Foreign affairs. Donald Trump's presidency has already significantly altered the American political landscape, and a potential second term could reshape the global order in profound ways. The current U.S.-led international system, born from the tumultuous conflicts of the past century, faces challenges from revisionist powers like China and Russia, which seek to undermine the liberal order. Trump's hardline nationalist approach, characterized by a focus on power and unilateral advantage, could either reinforce or destabilize this order. If he channels his geopolitical instincts constructively, he may strengthen U.S. defenses against adversaries while renegotiating alliances to ensure that allies contribute more to their own security. However, there is a risk that his more destructive tendencies could lead the U.S. to become a renegade superpower, exacerbating global chaos and undermining the very system he aims to protect. The outcome of his second term may hinge on whether he can balance assertiveness with a commitment to liberal values and global stability, a challenge that could determine the future of international relations. Foreign Affairs explores the evolution of global leadership in the post-Cold War era, highlighting a significant shift towards nationalism and the rise of strongman leaders like Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, and Donald Trump. These figures have revived the archetype of the powerful leader, emphasizing national greatness and civilization narratives, often at the expense of established international norms. Trump's presidency marked a pivotal moment in this trend, as he championed an America First agenda that resonated with a populist sentiment. Despite his loss in 2020, the article suggests that Trump and similar leaders continue to shape global discourse, favoring a reconfiguration of international relations that prioritizes national interests over multilateral cooperation. The article argues that this shift could lead to a more fragmented world order, where the traditional concept of the West diminishes, and the geopolitical landscape becomes increasingly defined by the ambitions of individual nations rather than collective agreements. Foreign Affairs also delves into India's historical relationship with China, particularly during the early years of communist rule after 1949. The book by Gokhale examines how India navigated the tensions between the United Kingdom and the United States regarding their approaches to China. Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru is depicted as a leader with strategic foresight but prone to tactical errors due to his adherence to diplomatic protocols. The narrative reveals India's attempts to assert itself on the global stage, particularly during crises such as the Taiwan Strait incidents, while also highlighting the complexities of its diplomatic efforts amidst competing Western interests. Gokhale's work sheds light on a lesser-known aspect of Indian diplomacy, illustrating how India's ambitions were often hampered by its diplomatic style, which struggled to match the weight of its aspirations in a rapidly changing international environment. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.